Hi, my name is Nata Hussain. I'm a volunteer with Wikimedia since 2010. I have attended 4 Wikimanias and I have been a member of many jury of scholarship committees within and outside of Wikimedia. And this video has been recorded for the Train the Trainer program, which is to be held in the month of March in India. Train the Trainer program is an event for training the leaders from several language communities within India. And I'm very happy that I have been asked to give this presentation at the Train the Trainer program. So the topic of this presentation is how to apply for Wikimania scholarships, and in the next few slides I'm going to give you some tips about how to make eligible applications for applying for a Wikimania scholarship. But before I go into that, I would recommend you to go to the Wikimania scholarships page on the Wikimania wiki and read through that and find out more about the selection process, what is the selection criteria and how to write your application and so forth. There's a lot of information out there, and I recommend that you come back and watch this video after you have gone through these pages and also have read this frequently asked questions. All right. So whatever I'm presenting on this video is more as an extension to what's actually given in the scholarships page. And also this most of the points in the slide are my own ideas and my own opinions of what Wikimania is and what Wikimania scholarship process is. So they are not legible facts or anything, but my ideas about how things work in the Wikimedia movement. Right. What is Wikimania for? It's for sharing your experiences and work with other people who attend Wikimania. It's also for learning from other people's experience and work. It's also for networking with other Wikimedians from around the globe. And then you can also do some problem solving. If you have got some problems that you require solutions for, then you bring that to Wikimania and consult a lot of people, and then you get new ideas on how to solve them. Wikimania is also for strategizing for the future, so you can make plans about how the Wikimedia movement should work in the coming 5 years or 3 years or 10 years and so forth. It's also for propagating and documenting the learning that you have had at Wikimania and bringing them back to your home community. So Wikimania doesn't end at the end of the conference day, but you can still take all the learning forth and bring them to your home community and enrich your home community. So these are some of the aims which I think Wikimania is for. And the Wikimedia movement in general wants people who fulfill these aims to attend Wikimania. So the scholarship process of Wikimania is designed in such a way that people who fulfill these aims would be selected to attend. So if some of these points are your aims of attending Wikimania, you are more likely to get a scholarship than the others. And here is about what Wikimania scholarship is not. The scholarship is not a trip abroad to see new places. Of course, you can see new places, but it should not be your primary aim to just see the places, and it's more about learning and sharing, like I said in the earlier slide. It's not a prize for the top contributor, so you could have been contributing so much, and it's not like you're being rewarded for being the top contributor in your community or so forth. It's also not a reward for your work on Wikimedia. You might be working for several hours a week for Wikimedia, and then you expect the Wikimedia Foundation to reward you for that. And this is not what a Wikimania trip is for. And it's not expected to be a reward for the work you have done for them. All work you do for Wikimedia is volunteering unless you have been appointed as a paid staff. So there is no reward except for the satisfaction you get from your own work. But Wikimania scholarship, it's mostly for learning and sharing your work, and it doesn't function as a reward. It's also not an opportunity to find paid work within Wikimedia. Um, yes, once you go there, you can definitely make networks and you can talk about your work, but it's not for searching for a job or making contacts to get paid work. And it's not even a financial aid. So there are people who cannot afford to go to Wikimania from using money from their own pockets. But Wikimania is not a financial aid for that. So there is no cutoff based on financial needs for applying for a scholarship. Anybody is eligible to apply for a scholarship. But if you think that you can make it to Wikimania or on your own, then please refrain from applying for a scholarship so that another deserving person gets an opportunity to go to Wikimania while you can go as a paid, you can pay for your own trip and go on your own. Right. So if you think that any of these are your primary goals for attending Wikimania, your ideas about this are also going to reflect in your application, and then um, it doesn't feel very good. So try to understand things in a way that try to have an idea about what you expect from Wikimania before you apply to participate. And if you have some of these goals, then I would say that you'll have to rethink about your participation. Right. And some people don't want to attend Wikimania, and why would that be? Some of them have high expectations about the knowledge level required for participation. They think that they need to have very high proficiency in English language. They would not understand American accent of English or the British accent, for example. They think that they might want very high technical knowledge, be able to code in C, C++, Sparkle, and so forth. And they think that we'll have to do some intercultural collaboration, and some cultures are very different from theirs, so it's impossible to make good conversations with them. So these are some of the fears some people have, but I would say that all these fears are not quite rational. Although Wikimania wants you to have a substantial level of English to be able to participate, you don't need to be an expert in English language. Most attendees attending Wikimania do not have English as their first language, so it's just fine. And you are not expected to also show any technical skills. So the people come from all different areas: people who do outreach, people who do glam, people who do Wikidata, people who write articles. So people from a lot of different fronts attend Wikimania. So it's not necessary that you need to have quite big technical knowledge. And again, people from different cultures attend Wikimania, and most often they are very cooperative and they want to talk with you and they want to share their experiences. So you would ultimately discover that it's not difficult to talk and interact and work with a person coming from a different culture. And secondly, some people have imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual has doubts about their accomplishments. So you feel like fake. So you think that you are not enough, and um, you are faking everything, and your contributions are not worth it. Other people have really earned their opportunity, and you are just faking it around. And I think it's many people suffer from this syndrome. And if you think that you have like confidence issues, then think about it yourself, and at least try to apply for a scholarship, and then you would know what happens. So it's something to think about your own confidence. The other people have fear of high incidental expenses. Wikimania offers the round trip travel, shared accommodation, and the conference registration fee. And some people are worried whether they'll have to pay for the visa, the trip they have to take for getting the visa, the meals, and the insurance. And some people do not have a credit card, and they do not have good economic conditions back at home. So they are really worried that they'll have to spend so much out of their pockets. And this fear is also not true, because Wikimania tries to take care of as much financial responsibility of the trip as possible. So if you convey your special situation to the organizers, they would definitely make some arrangements, whether it be for your visa or for your food or for your local travel and everything. So everything is negotiable. So don't think that these are like hard and fast rules and you will have to pay a lot of money from your pocket. So depending upon your financial needs, the Wikimania organizers have the right to provide you with more funding if needed. And some people think that the other cultures, people from other cultures who attend Wikimania, their cultures are incompatible to yours. And I think this is very irrational, because you will not be forced to do anything. So you do not have to, you will not be forced to eat the food that you do not like or that you are forbidden to eat, or you do not have to perform any acts which are forbidden in your culture. So you just have to be yourself, and you don't, you are not expected to perform things out of your way. So it's just, you just do normal things, you talk with people, and um, go to the sessions and not do anything much more. And if you have some special food preferences, Wikimania has always been accommodating for that as well. So you can negotiate, and if you have some rituals to perform, you can also do that in during the conference hours. It's no problem. So don't think that your cultural issues are preventing you from going to Wikimania. And some people are afraid of being lonely while at the conference. They think that they might not, since it's their first time going to Wikimania, they would feel very lonely and they wouldn't have any friends. But this is also not true, because there is an introduction to Wikimania session that's happening during every Wikimania every year. And here they talk about what to expect from a Wikimania, and it gives you a comprehensive introduction about what Wikimania is about. And people attending the conference are also very friendly. So if you don't have a friend, just ask somebody and they will be very happy to help you and they guide you around. And some people don't apply for scholarships even if they want to go to Wikimania. And what would be those reasons? In some cultures, it's inappropriate to talk highly about oneself. Especially in India, we are believers of karma, where you think that you do what you have to do and all the outcomes will follow you. But here, I would like to clarify that in a scholarship application, you are not talking highly about yourselves. You are just honestly writing about what you have done. So it's not being boastful of oneself. So you just, if you have done 10,000 edits, you write that you have done 10,000 edits. You do not have to present yourself as superior, or you do not have to exaggerate your work. So be yourself. And I think it's just okay for all cultures to just talk about whatever they are comfortable about. So don't be afraid to say about what you have done, and it's enough that you say about what you have done, and you don't have to talk so much around it, right? And some people have this problem of insufficient documentation about their own work. So people, I would give an example. So if you have been to a government office and been talking with them to release some of their photographs to in the public domain, then you have done some good work, but you have not documented it. So because you haven't documented, there is not a good evidence that you have actually done the talking and made the process happen. So especially in case of works related to outreach or talking with governmental organization and GLAMs, some people suffer from not having good documentation of what works they have done. But then I think it's very good to document your work, firstly because it helps other people who do similar things, and secondly because you also get a sense of understanding about what you have done. So I suggest that you write as much as you can, even if it's like 2 sentences about what you have done at a particular instance. And some people have less confidence in English writing skills. And I think again it's not exactly a rational fear of having not good enough English skills. What I would say is that you just try to write down something in English, and once you write, then you get the flow and you can keep writing. So to begin with, it would find very difficult and very hectic, but once you start writing, probably you will do very well. And you can also seek help from some of your friends if you do not have the specific words. But at the end, you will have to know sufficient English to be able to participate in Wikimania effectively. But I think some people have just so much irrational fear about their poor English writing skills, which is absolutely correctable. And some people are pissed off by the long application form for Wikimania scholarships. And the reason why the application form is long is because they want people who are sufficiently motivated to attend Wikimania. So if it was a short application, just about anybody could complete it without trouble. The application form is deliberately kept that way to make you write as much or as short or as big as possible, but you'll have to put in a reasonable effort to be able to be considered for the scholarship. And some people think that they do not know any member of the scholarship committee personally, so they won't get the scholarship. This is not true, because you don't need to know anybody personally to be able to get the scholarship. In the Wikimania scholarship system is very fair, and if you and there are like given criteria for how you should be scored for your application, and knowing somebody personally will not favor you in any way. So whether you know someone or not know someone, it doesn't matter. It all depends on the quality of work you have done and how well you have presented it in your scholarship application. Right. And what are the things to do before you apply? First advice I have is to ask you to start sufficiently early. I have seen a lot of people applying on the very last day, on the very last hour, on the very last minute, trying to push in their application. And this creates a lot of stress, and you forget a lot of points, and your application is not complete. And then give enough time to recall all your past work. So if you have been editing for say 10 years, then you might have absolutely forgotten what you did during your first year of being a Wikimedian. So it's a good idea to go back to your edit history and look at what you have done before. That gives you some idea about the things which you have done many years ago. And if you have previously applied for the scholarship, you can use that as a template for this year's scholarship application, and use the same text and add an extra paragraphs for the new things you have done in the recent year. So it's quite possible that you have memory lapses about things you have done in the past. So recall all your past work, and that's very important. And once you have done that, you create a rough sketch about your work, because sometimes people have such a lot of accomplishments to list out, and it would be very long if you write all of them. So you'll have to cut some of them short, and so you'll have to think about which accomplishments are important for you and keep them, and not talk about the other ones, because a very long application would also be difficult for the scholarship committee to process. It's also important that you organize your points in a coherent way. You can write either in paragraphs or also as in points. But then you have to follow some order when you list out your points. I can show an example. So here is a link. Yeah, so these are all the blog posts which I have written about Wikimedia. and I have put them as a sub page of my user page, and then I've got all these names and all these links. And when I say in my scholarship application that I have been blogging about Wikimedia, then I put this link as an evidence, and the scholarship committee is free to go to this link and find out all these news links which they can go to and further verify. So I think this is really cool to be able to put all things together rather than putting all these links into the scholarship form in general and making it so big. You can actually condense them somewhere else and then link to that particular page. Right. And lastly, how to write your application. You have to be specific, clear, and to the point. I have seen people trying to use flowery language, trying to explain things in a very complicated way. And here you have to remember that the members of the scholarship committee are humans, and for them it's difficult to process if you write long sentences in prose. So try to be clear and simple and to the point. And sometimes people tend to exaggerate their work. You could possibly say that you have organized a Wikimedia conference on your own, but then anybody reading that would understand that it's not true, because you cannot organize a conference on your own. You need help from several different people. You will have several different committees, a program committee, a scholarship committee, and logistics and so forth. So that's a work of a collective, that's a collective work and not your own individual work. So when you write about what you have done, just be honest, write only about as much as you have done and not more. It's also important to organize the content into themes and then put these themes into paragraphs or bullet points. Say, for example, you can write about all your blogging related stuff into one paragraph, and all about your fundraising related stuff into another paragraph, and so forth. You could also do it in another way. You could do it chronologically. You could start by saying what you did recently in 2019 and then about what you did in 2018 and 2017 and so forth. There are several different ways for doing it, but try to follow some order so that it's easier for the scholarship committee to go through it and understand easily. And then it's important to try best to quantify your work. Sometimes it's not possible to quantify. You have to just give a qualitative overview of what you have done. But as far as possible, try to quantify. Then the scholarship committee knows how much effort you have put into doing something. Say, for example, you have met several government officials for releasing some photographs into public domain. In that case, you could perhaps say that you have had 10 meetings with all these officials, or 15 visits to all these government offices and so forth. And then the committee has an understanding about how much work you have done, rather than just saying that you have just released these photos into public domain. So try to talk more in terms of quantity. And lastly, I can give you a short excerpt from my own user page. So when I talk about my roles, I say that I served as a member of the Individual Engagements Grants Committee and the Inspire Grants Committee of the Wikimedia Foundation. I'm a member of the Projects Grant Committee since 2016. I was a member of the Drafting Committee of the Movement Strategy Project of the Wikimedia Foundation. Since 2017, I'm a member of the editorial board of the Wiki Journal of Medicine, and in 2008, I served in the steering committee of the phase 2 of movement strategy process. So you can see that in such a short space, I have tried to put in everything about what kind of roles I have taken in the Wikimedia movement. And that too has been put in chronological order with relevant links. So try to condense it. Try to make it simple, try to make it clear and to the point. And if you have some years to mention, you can do it this way, and have the links to show evidence of what exactly you have done. So I think that is it. Good luck, and if you have any questions, you can always write to me at nadahussain@gmail.com. I'll be very happy to reply to you. Usually I get a lot of requests for writing, helping them with helping people with scholarship applications. And this year also, I will be happy to help you depending upon how much time I have. So I'm not exactly sure how much time I'll be able to put into this, but if you contact me, I can definitely reply to you, I can definitely answer you about my timelines and what exactly I can do for you. So thank you very much for listening, and hope to see you in Stockholm. Bye bye.